Hey, Kyler here. Our aim for this show is to leverage every opportunity that life throws at us. I hope you find value in today's show.
Eighth question on our final episode in the Diagnostic Series here on the Leverage Life Show. We are hoping, Kyler and I, brothers, to come alongside you and leverage every single opportunity that life throws at you. And here's been the whole goal behind our Diagnostic Series: to stress test and ask 8 great questions every wealth transfer plan needs to be able to answer in order for you to leave a legacy, to live a life worth maximum impact and be remembered long after you're gone. And of course, some of the details in there, they're financial, but they're also legacy driven, they're stewardship driven. And that's why we're going to answer this final question of our 8 question series today. What is your plan without you? What is your plan without you? Have you actually stress tested the plan amongst life circumstances? Because here's why I ask that. And before we jump into today's episode, here's why I ask that. Because we sit down and talk with people every single week that it's all hypothetical. It's great intention. It's a great concept. It's a great idea, but it just lives in hypothetical. It's once or twice a year, I know I need to probably look into something more serious. Oh, I know I have some sort of estate plan figured out. I have some sort of estate planning attorney. Or my favorite, I know a friend that does life insurance, or I know a friend that does estate planning, but you never talk to them about your situation. That's my favorite story that we hear. It's like, yeah, I've got it figured out. No, you don't. You just know somebody. That's not a concrete plan that's actually going to pass on your wealth, figure things out. No, it's something we need to figure out right now. We need to talk about, and not something that we just live in hypothetical, but we actually shift towards something concrete, intentional, family focused, stewardship driven, legacy game plan that you can actually put into practice and put in the game. We don't just want to sit on the sidelines. That's not how Kyler and I operate. We want to get in the game. We want you to be in the game and make sure you actually have a wealth transfer plan that is worth it, valuable, and makes sense, preserves your legacy, and realistically, what's it even worth without you? That's why we need to dive into this episode today.
For everyone that's been following along for this series, just want to say thank you. Appreciate you guys. Have had great feedback, and just a lot of people have just said, "Hey, it's just sparking the conversation that we need to be having with business partners and families," and that's really the whole goal. It's not meant to overwhelm people with problems, even though when you talk about this stuff, it inherently is going to expose different gaps within your life, your structure, whatever that may be. But it's not meant to overwhelm people. It's meant to just spark the questions to be asked, that way you can have these conversations, even though there are hard conversations to have sometimes with people. But that's the whole point of this diagnostic series, is to make sure that you're having the right conversation with the right people in the right moment, which is the current moment, because we want to be proactive and not reactive when it comes to
Mhm.
doing planning. And if you ask the majority of people that are doing estate planning, or they have a business, or they want to leave a lasting legacy, most everybody's going to agree with that. They want to do something that's proactive. I don't think I've ever really met somebody that's really truly like hardcore going to say, I don't want to make sure my family's taken care of. That just sounds ridiculous. You know what I mean? So it's good to have these questions to spark the conversation. And I think to end everything today, we really just want to make sure that whatever plan you have in place, that it's really going to hold true under pressure. And that's going to be
Mhm.
what's worth everything in the long run. Because a plan that collapses under pressure, however well intentioned it may be, it's still going to leave the people that you love holding on to some sort of consequence, and maybe some stress or whatever that may be down the road. And we just don't want that for people, because we want to make sure that we are coming alongside people to help steward their legacies for the long run. So I want to talk core really quick what it actually means for a wealth transfer plan to hold true. We've talked at nauseum about different documents to have in place and making sure they're current. That's just the first thing. We want to make sure that the people named in those documents, the trustees, the executors, the partners, and the buy sell, they're still the right people. We want to make sure that the coverage is sized for your actual exposure. If you're going to be someone that's going to have an exposure to estate taxes someday, if that's new, you haven't heard that, then go back and watch some of the other episodes we talked about, like estate taxes and exposure there and that risk that's inherently involved. We want to make sure that the policies you have are owned in the right structures and by the right people. We want to make sure that your business has a true funded succession plan. It means that the family knows where everything is and all of the people that you need to call when something does happen. So, when all of those things are true, like simultaneously across the board, more than likely a plan is going to hold true. And that's what we're looking for. We're trying to come alongside people and help them build a life by design with structure and organization so that
Mhm.
way they can steward a legacy in the best way possible for them and their family. When all of that may not be true, or if there is gaps, sometimes things start to drift a little bit. I want to say too, it's not by ill intention, but the default for just planning in general is sometimes things to kind of drift because life happens. Everyone knows that
Mhm.
you're going to have up years and down years in business. You're going to have hard conversations with employees. You're going to have to let people go if they're doing something, maybe they're doing something that they needed to be let go from, right? Or they're just not doing their job responsibilities correctly. So there's lots of things that come up when you own a business and just in your family life, that things that are they're just inherently going to drift away from maybe the plan that you originally had. And so we've got to make sure that we always can have, whether that's like a pulse check with a business partner or
Mhm.
multiple times a year with your family, having family meetings to make sure that, hey, we're not drifting. We're still on the right path. We might drift a little bit because something happened, but we know we're going to have these meetings and we're going to tighten everything back up. That's really what we're looking for. We want to
Mhm.
make sure that things are tightened up. We are, you know, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, just buttoning everything up that we need to make sure that things stay how they need to be. I can't tell you how hard it is to watch something unfold when a plan wasn't in place, and it just causes increased stress on business partners, spouses, surviving spouses, and loved ones. Those are really, really hard things to watch, let alone the people that are actually living that. And if they had a plan that was a structure appropriately in place and they were doing all the things I just mentioned, not saying it would be easier, but they're still gonna be grieving, but it doesn't have the stress and
Mhm.
the just the stress that it's gonna be on, like, during the actual time that they're in that process. So, that's all we're talking about with the diagnostic series. It's really 8 questions just asked, and just we're trying to get clarity and have honest answers
Mhm.
with integrity on where this stuff actually lands, and I feel like if you can't answer all those questions to 100% have confidence in it, then it's worth to have those conversations. Okay. We want to make sure that people are taken care of and they're leaving a lasting legacy.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's really the why behind why we even talk about this in the first place. And I'll phrase it to you this way. I learned how to navigate these conversations back whenever I was a pastor ages ago. I mean, you have above the line conversations and you have below the line conversations. And here's what I mean. And this is what we want to shift to in our wealth transfer conversation. So many agents and advisors and people, they just live above the line. Here's what I mean. They only talk about their wants and needs and maybe some opinions. And that's it. That's all they ever talk about, their wants, needs, and opinions. But Kyler and I, we want to go below the line with these conversations. We want to talk about hopes, dreams, and fears. That's different. That's a completely different conversation. When we sit down with people and we're trying to craft a legacy plan or a wealth transfer plan, and it's anchored not just in kind of what you need, but in what you're afraid of, that changes the conversation. If you're having a conversation like, oh, I kind of have an opinion about what I should do versus what I really hope to accomplish, that changes the direction of the conversation. It changes the direction of your entire legacy and what you want to be remembered by. I think it's not this dry, structured bunch of legal paperwork, although there's legal parts to it. It's so much more a matter of love and stewardship that goes below the line of you handling, some core fears of what happens to me, or I'm scared of this, or what happens to the business if I pass away. It goes to my hopes and it goes to my dreams of what legacy I really want to be remembered for. That I don't just drift off after, you know, I leave my business or things pass away. That's really what we all want at the end of the day. We want thing that's going to last. We want to be um, putting things into place that actually make sense for the long haul. So that's the why behind this conversation. That's our motivation. And we're driven by that relationship so that we can actually preserve what people have built. So people don't have to lose what they built over time and wonder where it actually went. To matter is stewardship at the end of the day. So have those below the line conversations, not just above the line.
That's some really good stuff, Corey. I want to take it actually a little bit of a step further on, or just to continue what you just said, actually, because I just had a good thought on a quote that I I've heard many a times, and I believe it was Sir Isaac Newton that said this. I actually just looked it up, and the quote is, "If I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And I've heard that said in many different kind of contexts, but the way that I take that is, with you leaving a legacy and you've got family members that you're going to be passing along things to, it's going to compound over generations. And the next generation is standing on top of the shoulders of the ones before.
Mm,
And the next generation is on top of the shoulders of the ones before. And I was actually thinking about that literally earlier today. Um, within our family specifically, we actually come from a long line of entrepreneurs. And it really just dawned on me that kind of this week, great grandfather, farming, sold chickens to Tyson's Chicken. Our granddad was a contractor painter. Uncle was a contractor. Grandpa on my dad's side had was an artist and did like bronze sculptures and sold that, like, and
mhm,
had different businesses and stuff. And like, our dad has his own business that he's been in the financial industry for over 35 years, and here we are, we're entrepreneurs. And so like that's in our genes, I feel like, maybe to be that way. And I feel like for us it's because we feel called that we can provide value in other ways
mhm,
if we're doing things a certain way ourselves. And I think that is in a lot of ways how we feel about things. But I say all that to say, we're standing on the shoulders of those that came before us.
mhm,
And I don't you should never take that lightly because you always want to honor what your ancestors have done. At least I feel like you should. At least I don't feel like it's wise or, great stewardship if you're just blowing everything, obviously. So, but we're standing on the people that came before us, and I want to make sure that the vision that we're casting for the future is also respecting the past of what's happened. And it's just a healthy way to go forward to provide value in the world. And that way you're able to have a lasting legacy, once you're
mhm,
gone. So I think it's just perspective in a lot of ways when you think about leaving a lasting legacy. And, we always say like we want to help people steward legacies. That's kind of our, MO, if you will. Like we want to be able to help come alongside that journey with you. And so it's out of love. And we know that you guys love your families, you love your businesses, you want to make sure that you're doing the things you can to take care of your family. And this is what we're all about.
mhm.
So Cord, yeah. I wanted to throw that in there about that quote. I was thinking about that earlier, but I think it's a good thing to kind of bring into the conversation to end the series of the diagnostic series today.
Yeah, it's a great way to land it. And let me land the plane with a final action
Yeah.
step on the eighth one. We're going to drop all 8 questions in the description of this episode. So that way you have them. And here's your action step. You sit down with those 8 questions and just ask yourself um, each one and answer them. If you can answer all of them confidently without having to do any research or look anything up, you're good. But if you look through those questions and maybe there's some hesitation, that's what I would look for. I don't know. Maybe just a slight hesitation on any of those questions that needs to spark a conversation that does not need to be delayed. And just between Kyler and I and you in full transparency, it's so easy to say, I can take care of that one day, and one day never comes around. It happens all the time. You are not alone in that thinking. I've been that way. Kyler's been that way. All the people we talked to have been that way before. But now's your opportunity to take advantage of this opportunity that's been put in front of you to love, care, and leave a lasting legacy for your family. And we'd love to help kickstart that conversation. So shoot us a text, SHOW, text show, SHOW to 479 396 3528. Once again, that's 479 396 3528. This is the 8th episode of the Diagnostic Series of the Leverage Life Show. We hope to leverage every single opportunity that life throws at us. We'll see you next week with a brand new series that we are stoked about. So we'll see you next week. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you later.